Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to Low Friction Friday. Sorry it's been a minute since the last one, but yes, I had a couple of weeks of leave and madly catching up this week and trying to get this one out before I run out of time on a Friday afternoon. But yes, it is important we go into the weekends as low friction as possible, so here we go. Okay, the main thrust of today's episode is going to be on the marketing around lubricants. A few things have really, become more and more prevalent and noticeable as I was sort of catching up on my inbox madly this week and just all the requests from around the world with regards to have I seen this product or that product, have I tested it, am I planning to test, and so on. So I'm going to go through a few things where you will be able to help both yourself and ZFC with that particular area. Prior to, or just before we get into the main part of today's episode though, I've just got some low friction news updates to quickly rip through. Alright, first fun one is Josh Portner of Silke has been, great enough to do a video on, understanding or cracking the code of the zero friction cycling test data. So that is great that Josh has such an interest in the testing that we're doing. Obviously, Silke have used the zero friction cycling testing quite a bit over the years, and ongoing at the moment as we're sort of finalising the testing for Hot Wax X with the single application longevity testing going at the moment. So it's quite funny in that he did state at the start of this video that he planned for it to be around about 12 minutes, and I think it ran for over half an hour. So I'm extremely pleased that my over length on just about everything is contagious. And I've just seen today also that there is now a part 2. So that is amazing. I haven't seen how long that one is. And I will be queuing that up to listen to as soon as I finish this recording this afternoon. So yeah, I'll put the links of both the part 1 and now the part 2 of Josh Portner's sort of decoding of the ZFC test data in the description of this one. So after you've listened to mine, then go and have a listen to those two if you haven't already. Okay, and as they promised, Rex have released the mod blocks, so the modifier only blocks. So a quick recap with the Rex Black Diamond Immersive Wax. Comes in a pack where you get a mod block, which has got all their concentrated low friction modifier, and you have 11 base blocks. The Black Diamond enables you to, create your own sort of level of wax blend with regards to, do you want a really high concentration friction modifier blend or a lesser concentration? If you're going for a higher concentration, such as only using 4 or 7 base blocks as opposed to all 11, then you will have surplus base blocks ready to use for another blend. And so really we've needed the mod block to be released. That's been released. It may be up on the ZFC website or web store by the time the video goes up. If not, it'll probably be up there sometime over the weekend. They're not that cheap. So the Rex Black Diamond Wax is $89.90. The mod block just by itself is going to be $49.90. So this is, where all the good stuff is. So the base blocks are obviously comparatively much cheaper to make. These are they are hand mixed by the good folks at Rex and containing a fair bit of expensive stuff. So by the time they get here from Finland and everything else, even at pretty low margin, that's unfortunately the sort of where the pricing has to be. But they will enable you to obviously use all the rest of your base blocks, and we will have the Rex Black Diamond Wax and the mod block as a bundle. So we'll put in just whatever sort of little amount of discount that we can get on that. So yep, they should be ready to go soon, but yeah, as promised, they have delivered, so that is fantastic. And when I get a chance, I will update the cost to run modeling for the Rex Black Diamond, the 4+1 mix, which is the high concentration mix. Prior to the mod block being released, basically that was factoring the cost of needing to purchase another $89.90 set of wax, as opposed to being able to purchase the $49.90 set of wax across the test period. So I will update that when I get a moment. And that'll change the league table a little bit with regards to how the BD Wax sort of models out. So that is the Rex update. Okay, so for a very long time, bicycle chain lubricants can hit the market with, marketing claims by the manufacturer that are really whatever they like. There's been really no accountability or need for them to substantiate such claims. And that's a big part of why zero friction cycling exists. It's just the absolute wild west of marketing. And the trouble is, obviously, is that if a particular company is able to claim various, a lot of wonderful performance attributes, and they don't need to substantiate that at all, then if you're going to go to market with a product, why would you not match that? You're not going to go to market with saying, look, it's pretty good, does sort of this pretty well and that pretty well, when it's going to be sitting next to a product that is going to claim that it is basically liquid that's been dropped down from heaven, and it is just going to be absolutely astounding and conquer everything. Comparatively, you're not going to look as good. So once basically one manufacturer or some manufacturers start claiming a whole bunch of magical stuff that their lubricants do, and they don't have to substantiate that, everybody joins that game. And so, you pick up basically any product or look at any product on the website, and quite often it claims a whole bunch of stuff that it may or may not do. We don't know, because they are not providing anything to back what they're actually claiming. And so that is obviously a big part of why zero friction cycling exists, and it's a big part of why I get a lot of requests from around the world about, have I seen this product? Have I tested this? Am I planning to test that? And there's some on-trend, areas within that. So more and more manufacturers are jumping on the bio or plant-based lubricant. Now, some may have genuinely made a great bio or plant-based lubricant. Some may just be jumping on the bandwagon and throwing, whatever they like on the label because they think, well, we're probably going to make a good amount of sales and revenue if we can get on this bandwagon at the right time and with the right flashy looking product and marketing. And so how do we separate that? So this is really a big part of what I try to do. But more and more so, I'm pretty heavily booked by manufacturers that actually have really put in the genuine yards to make a great product, and they need some independent benchmarking of that product versus their key competitors, or I'm being used as part of the actual development of the product. So I'll be sent, from base blend to adding X modifier and X ratio to all sorts of changes. It depends on what the actual manufacturer has been able to get it to themselves with their own, hopefully robust sort of field testing that they may have. Where is it at before I start to become involved, and obviously what they're looking for when ZFC starts to become involved before they press go on production is a product that is competitive with all the other products that we've tested over time and have on the league table. So we're pretty busy with that side of things, and that leaves even less time for me to try to test the literally 1,000+ lubricants that are out there on the market, all claiming some pretty amazing stuff. Right now, for me to test, say, and there are at least 1,000 products out there that I haven't tested that are in the bicycle chain lubricant space, and more are added every week. So, a main test, if a lubricant goes, say, reasonably well, to get through the main test and the single application longevity test, it's about 3 months. So I will have to test non-stop for the next circa 300+ years to get through, say, 1,000 tests. So I'm probably going to retire sometime before then. So I'm not going to get to them all. I'm going to need your help in weeding out what products are worth zero friction cycling focus and getting some actual benchmark testing, and what products are there is nothing that they have to substantiate the claims they're putting on the bottle or the website, and they are just, if they don't have that, then it's a pass. The golden rule we're going to be trying to get through really at the moment is that if you have a company making a whole bunch of claims and they cannot substantiate any of those claims, they have probably pulled those claims out of their ass and just put them on the bottle because they can get away with doing so. It really is a different kind of market segment and industry, because there is no governing standard for testing for bicycle chain lubricants. So for one, you've sort of got carte blanche to come up with whatever you like. And two, because there's no, benchmark testing or control testing aside from really the zero friction cycling test to actually try to assess any of these things. It's not like, say, if you're looking at buying a new car and you've got a car, you're looking at a Toyota Corolla, and all of a sudden it's like, far out, claims to have 1,500 horsepower, whilst it gets 150 miles per gallon and the car weighs 300 kilograms. There's a whole bunch of claims there that can be very easily tested against existing standards that can debunk those claims. We just don't have that when it comes to bicycle chain lubricants. It is literally someone can claim anything and have absolutely nothing to back that up or need to substantiate when you ask. It's just all groovy. So we're in a bit of a really unique spot, and it's very, very hard for consumers. Again, it's a big part of sort of why I'm doing what I'm doing and have a lot of fun doing what I'm doing. All right, let's have a look at a quick, and when I say I did this quick, presentation, which will hopefully help explain how you can help me in this battle of far too many lubricants out there with wild claims and not enough testing. All right, so a very common email inquiry is, have you tested X or seen X product, and am I going to test it? And as I was just running through, each test takes significant resources, and I'm pretty heavily booked with testing for manufacturers. So what that means is that basically any of the test time that I do get, and a spare test machine where I can conduct a test of my own curiosity or volition to check if a product is actually great, or it might be a product where the claims are extremely concerning, such as the recent test on the Presticycle 1. That testing time is quite valuable, and so there's just going to be so many that I'm not going to be able to get to that people are interested in. And so the first step, so the last bullet point there, is really the one that we're going to run through how best you can do this. So I really need you to contract the manufacturers and ask them to supply some of the information that is going to sit behind their claims. Okay, now quick apologies, my PowerPoint skills have declined down to a level 0 since the last 20 years since I used it for some reason, which I cannot or do not have time to try to work out on a Friday afternoon. All my bullet points are coming up at once. So if anyone knows why that's doing that, let me know, and I will move my PowerPoint presentation skills to a level 0.1 in time for the next ZFC video. Anyway, what this one's about, we want to get everyone out there that is going to be emailing manufacturers products that they're interested in on my behalf, because I will not have time to email all the ones that we're interested in, is that if they are making a particular claim, then really at base premise they must have concrete substantiated information and testing that sit behind that particular claim. Because if they don't, how the heck are they making that claim? So what we want to know, so first and foremost is, what do they have? What is the testing that they have done that they can provide to you that substantiate the claim that they are making? And really from there, providing they give you something, we want to be able to then weigh up, what sort of level is that testing? So, if we sort of think about, say, a double-blind tier 1 medical trial as, that's a gold standard trial of a new particular drug that may be coming out to the market. We don't really have the equivalent of that in this space, but something that is quite robust and detailed, that is going to be able to properly assess that lubricant's performance versus competitors. We could probably start to put up to a tier 1 sort of equivalent in this area. If it is that they just applied the lubricant to their own company workers and some friends, and they all thought that it felt great and better than a couple of other lubricants that they were using before, that's obviously a pretty junk kind of thing. And that is actually what has happened numerous times in the past. Believe it or not, when I have emailed to manufacturers, it has literally been that they thought it felt better than other products. So that would be at the not very close to a tier 1 standard. But first and foremost, we want to see or get from them what they have, and take into account not just the robustness of their sort of testing protocol, but against how many competitors and things like that. Specifically on claims, we can look at, if they're claiming wonderful things about a ceramic lubricant, are they able to demonstrate, what difference did the ceramic additive make? Do they have the test data for the base product and then the test data for the one with the ceramic additive, so they can show a clear difference that, their potential claim of the ceramic coating greatly reducing wear and so on do they have anything to back that? All right, I'll pause from this slide here at the moment. I'm going to duck to it's a particular one that it's just really the most recent one that came in as I was ripping through my inbox this week. And I had a look at the website, and I can play a little bit from a video of their website on a specific claim. That's just an example of really what we want to be looking for when you're having a look at the website, either the wordings or videos they may have. They're making specific claims, so therefore they should have specific testing data and information that they can provide to you that substantiate that claim. Again, otherwise, how are they making it? And if they can't, that's a pretty big red flag. So let's have a quick look at that one.
Covers all of the chain's links. The main difference between the layer produced by this lube and the layer produced by other lubes is that it is thick and flexible, and it does not divide or crack.
All right, so that's a pretty specific claim. So if you were to write to them and ask them, how did they test that their wax layer inside the chain did not divide or crack? However, other competitor wax layers that they tested did either divide or crack. What competitors were they, and so on. Now, not to say anything against this company, I do not know, maybe they are amazing, but just based on, I guess, general sort of history, I would rate the odds that you're going to get an actual answer to that question as, well, let's just say low. Okay, so the short version is that have a look at the claims that they're making, and you should be emailing them and asking them what they have specifically on those claims to substantiate them. And don't be afraid to pummel them. All right, what to be aware of in the replies if you get them. And honestly, a lot of times I'll be surprised if you even get a reply. All right, so if the reply is a marketing fluff piece with basically zero tangible or objective information, something vague like, we've worked extensively with professional athletes and teams to develop blah, 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 blah. All right, if you've done that, where is the physical data from that testing that you have done with the teams and cyclists? Decisions that have been made to put, X into production and release to market with X claims, you must have actual data from this work that supports those decisions. How were efficiency losses tested? How were the wear rates tested? How was the treatment longevity tested? How was its performance and versus competitors tested in different contamination conditions such as dry off-road, wet, mud, etc. Bearing in mind that most lubricants claim that they perform in all conditions. So, where is all this stuff? And, if they're referring to ASTM test standards, they are not applicable to use on a bicycle chain. ASTM data will often really just denote that it's a lubricant from X, manufacturer from X industry that's been rebottled and rebranded to sell as a bicycle chain lubricant, and they really have no idea how it performs on a bicycle chain. It performed in whatever standard test that lubricant was originally developed for, and really it's just sort of, well, if it does that, then surely it should be fine on a bike chain. But as we know, that is not the case. To a large part, I do, sympathise with how difficult it is for manufacturers to actually get independent testing. There's actually, robust interviews. I'm going to sort of revisit the testing landscape and really what the zero friction cycling testing can and can't do, because it's going to be great really to sort of recap that. It's been a while since I did the first pretty clunky one. It is tough. Without there being a standard for bicycle lubricant testing, there are a number of facilities that do or have done testing, and the results have just varied wildly. So that doesn't help. And field testing can be done, and it can be done really well, but it is very, resource intensive. For instance, when I first started cycling, being a very strange, weird guy, I kept track of every component lifespan, and I have done on all bikes since forever. I'm one of those odd people. The first 9 chains that I went through on my first bike, I kept the track of that, and obviously the lifespan, it was pretty variant. So this is going back a while, and I didn't know anything like what I did now since I started playing in this area. So I was just using what was supposed to be a fairly decent wet lube, and I was getting anywhere really between 4,000 kilometers to 0.5% and 6,500 kilometers. So that's basically a 62.5% variance. So it's a pretty big variance. It takes, multiple chains, because out in, unlike say the zero friction cycling testing where the load is controlled, the relief intervals are controlled, what contamination is introduced and when is controlled. Differences in real world, if you're to go out and get caught in a bit of a wet ride and then not really do any maintenance, you've got this stuff inside the chain, your next ride in the sun is still going to do a lot more damage than if you hadn't been caught with a bit of a wet ride. You've just, especially if that next ride is going to be, say, a high power, high intensity interval session as opposed to a coffee cruise. Without any of the key variables controlled, field testing is going to give you quite a big variance in your results in terms of what your wear rates will be. So many chains need to be tested with the same riders on that product and competitor products before you can start to build a bit of a database. So that might start to paint a bit of a picture as to just sort of how much work that is to get done. So ideally you need somebody at the company who's a bit nerdy and is going to be able to control the process where they are prepping the chains. They are sending those chains then and the lubricant to the athletes to go out and do their training, getting the chains back after, say, 1,000 kilometers of wear with strict instructions on what they need to do in between, and then getting a whole bunch of check wear measures for those chains with both their products and competitor products across a wide range of athletes. Also being able to do similar things with athletes, checking measures pre and post really long, hard events, so that we can start to get some idea of how they're going in, say, a very long, dry off-road event or wet event, things like that. It can be done, and it has been done, but it is, takes a lot of resources and a lot of time. And I just, I do not think that anything remotely like that is the case with the vast majority of manufacturers that have got products out on the market making all sorts of magnificent claims. And, obviously where this is a bummer, and there's, I guess, a bit of a disincentive to do all that time and effort because it doesn't necessarily give you anything more. A manufacturer could put a huge amount of human and sort of financial capital behind both the development and the testing of their product, with professional teams and athletes, ascertain that their product is genuinely, a step above all the competitors that they have tested. And at the end of the day, their claims are basically going to be the same as anyone who has done none of that. They just get to go to market saying whatever they like, equal to or even greater than the company that has put in all the hard work and cost. So what's, I guess, more common these days is that a manufacturer will do that as a precursor to then trying to get that independently then verified through somewhere like myself and ZFC. But you can understand that, it is not going to be common, especially when a manufacturer can just claim whatever they like without having to do any of that. Why do all of that when what's on your product website and bottle is still going to be basically the same as a company that hasn't done that? So this is the sort of the hot mess we're in this area. All right, now a logical question will be, is like, okay, even for the manufacturers who actually have completed some great testing, why isn't that just there as standard on the website? Because most, even sort of pretty good reputable products with your normal claims that are out there, there is nothing that's substantiating those. So, why is that just not there as a standard? So, and now this is where I'm sort of, I guess, just going to my opinion as opposed to knowing it as fact. I believe that, even for the companies that have tried to do something, at least in the space, to substantiate that their product is actually, good, that it's still probably pretty messy and that it may not really look great or pass great scrutiny if it was sort of just published up on a website. Again, it's not like they can just go to this nice, magnificent, sort of independent test standard and verify their product. Here it is on a league table. Again, zero friction cycling is really the only one of that type at the moment, and I don't have the resources to obviously cover the world of bicycle chain lubricant manufacturers. So we're struggling to do the little bit that we're doing. So it is really tough for manufacturers to try to get actual robust independent information for their product, and so they are often, I guess, left to a large degree to try to fend for themselves in terms of trying to assess how good their product is. And what they have been able to assess, maybe they're not really comfortable in publishing that. So that's part of why I think even the ones that have done something where it's just simply not there as standard. But mostly, I would, my ballpark guess would be that, conservatively 90% plus of the products out on the market making all the wonderful claims have zero, absolutely zero, to back those claims. And that when you write to them and ask them, because you need to do that first. I don't have the time. If you're interested in a product, write to them first, pummel them as we run through. Then if you do get something, then bring me into the loop. I'll be very interested in having a look at any sort of company's responses to good questions about their claims. So, but I will be shocked in most cases if you do actually even get a reply, or if the reply is just literally not fluff. So if we get something substantial and something worth actually delving into, in more than 1 in 10 of anyone who emails in to try to get that, I will actually be pleasantly surprised. Right, the age-old saying, as I swear this has never happened to me before. To get the bullet points to come in individually, as I would like them to, they should look, hang on, where was it? Sorry. They should look 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Why are mine all 1 and they all come up at the same time? If you know the answer to that question, please put that in the comments. I will otherwise have to do some annoying Googling to find out why it has decided to assign them all 1. Too annoying on a Friday afternoon, and it is time for a beer, so I am not going to delve into that now. Yep, so I am good at pulling things apart and putting them back together again. IT and computer stuff can go and just, All right, thanks everyone. Have a great weekend, and I will catch you on the next one.